They've solved the great mystery of the Alcatraz escape, and you'll be shocked by what they've discovered. After decades of speculation, empty leads, and dead ends, scientists have finally cracked the secret of America's most infamous prison escape. The 1962 Alcatraz escape has remained the greatest unsolved mystery in criminal history until now. In 2025, a team of forensic oceanographers and AI experts have uncovered the truth that has been lurking in the turbulent waters of San Francisco Bay for over 60 years. Join us as we take a closer look at one of the most terrifying mysteries of recent years. Let's dive in. Number 14. The legend that defied logic. Alcatraz wasn't just a prison, it was America's ultimate statement of incarceration dominance. Standing defiant in the churning waters of San Francisco Bay, the facility processed society's most dangerous criminals with military precision. This concrete fortress earned its reputation through cold calculation, cells measuring just 5 by 9 feet, tool-proof steel bars that underwent daily inspection, and a guard-to-prisoner ratio unmatched in the federal system. The prison's location turned nature itself into a warden, surrounded by water temperatures averaging 53 degrees, currents reaching 9 meters, and a 1.25-mile swim to the nearest shore. Officials confidently declared escape impossible based on these facts. They marketed Alcatraz as the final stop for America's most troublesome inmates, a place where even thoughts of freedom would eventually die. The prison's oppressive daily routine broke down resistance systematically. Inmates faced 13 head counts daily, solitary confinement for minor infractions, and a privilege system that weaponized basic human needs. The Rock housed notorious criminals like Al Capone and Machine Gun Kelly, but even these hardened men found themselves contained by concrete, steel, and psychological warfare. Number 13. The night everything changed. The stillness of June 11, 1962 shattered when guards discovered 3 empty cells during routine checks. Frank Morris and brothers John and Clarence Anglin had vanished, leaving behind a meticulously crafted illusion. Dummy heads made from soap, toilet paper, and real human hair, positioned perfectly on pillows. These crude mannequins had fooled guards during earlier checks, buying the escapees crucial hours. The night shift guard had noticed something odd around 10:30 p.m., but dismissed it. By morning, the truth couldn't be ignored. They were gone. The prison immediately locked down while sirens blared across the island. The FBI launched the largest manhunt in Bay Area history, deploying boats, planes, and search teams across multiple states. They discovered an abandoned workshop above cell block B containing evidence of months of preparation, improvised tools, diagrams, and materials for a water escape. More shocking discoveries awaited on the prison roof. Ventilation, ducts pried open, homemade rope hanging down the northern wall, and signs of a hasty departure. Number 12. The mastermind's brilliant plan. Frank Morris possessed a measured intelligence that prison officials dangerously underestimated. His IQ tested at 133, placing him in the top 2% of the population, but his genius manifested in practical application rather than academics. Orphaned young and institutionalized by age 13, Morris developed a survival mindset that prison walls couldn't contain. His criminal record showed a pattern of escalating offenses punctuated by successful escapes from multiple facilities. When transferred to Alcatraz in 1960 after fleeing Louisiana State Penitentiary, he immediately began analyzing weaknesses in the supposedly escape-proof system. The plan Morris developed exploited both physical deterioration and human complacency. He first identified that the concrete walls behind their cell vents had weakened from decades of salt air exposure. Using stolen metal spoons modified into digging tools, Morris and his accomplices painstakingly widened these vents over months. I have a question for you. First, I would like to say that it is possible to follow the greatest curiosities of our world every day. But, to do so, you need to be subscribed to our channel. So, are you already subscribed? If not, take the opportunity to subscribe now. Also, take the opportunity to like the video, so YouTube will recommend more videos from our channel. So leave your like right now. And now that you have done that, let's go. Number 11. The brothers who became legends. The Anglin brothers brought something crucial to the escape plan that Morris lacked: unbreakable loyalty built through blood ties. Growing up as two of 13 children in a desperately poor Florida farming family, John and Clarence developed survival skills that translated perfectly to prison life. Their criminal partnership began with petty theft and eventually escalated to bank robbery, landing them in Atlanta Penitentiary, where repeated escape attempts earned them transfers to Alcatraz in 1960 and 1961 respectively. Prison records describe them as inseparable, communicating through an elaborate private code and protecting each other from prison dangers. Unlike the intellectual Morris, the Anglins contributed practical skills essential to the operation. Both had worked as farmhands and laborers, giving them physical stamina and practical knowledge of tools. From their prison jobs in the barbershop and kitchen, they collected contraband materials and created opportunities for team communications. Clarence's artistic abilities proved particularly valuable. He created the realistic dummy heads that fooled guards on escape night and painted the papier-mâché vent covers that concealed their work. Number 10. The failed fourth escapee. Alan West represents the thin line between historical footnote and legendary status. Initially part of the escape team, West occupied the cell next to Morris and worked alongside the others for months preparing for the breakout. He helped gather materials, assisted with raft construction, and dug through his own cell wall just like his fellow conspirators. His contribution to the planning phase was significant. Prison records show West had maritime experience that influenced the raft design. Yet, when the crucial moment arrived, West found himself left behind in one of history's most unfortunate timing failures. The concrete surrounding West's ventilation duct had hardened unexpectedly, requiring additional work on escape night. While Morris and the Anglins successfully widened their openings, West's proved more stubborn. By the time he finally broke through, his accomplices had already departed, unwilling to risk the entire operation by waiting. Faced with an impossible choice, attempt a solo escape or remain, West chose safety and returned to his cell. The following morning, when guards discovered the empty cells, West made another fateful decision: complete cooperation. His detailed testimony provided investigators with the escape blueprint, including crucial information about the raft construction, timing, and intended destination. Number 9. The hunt that gripped America. The escape triggered the most extensive manhunt in Bay Area history, mobilizing federal resources across multiple states and capturing public attention nationwide. Within hours of the discovery, nearly 200 FBI agents descended on San Francisco, establishing command centers and coordinating with local law enforcement agencies. The Coast Guard deployed patrol boats throughout the bay while military helicopters scanned shorelines. Roadblocks appeared on major highways leading from the region, and agents interviewed hundreds of contacts associated with the escapees across 16 states. The investigation quickly uncovered disturbing evidence of institutional failures. Agents discovered that nighttime head counts had become perfunctory, with guards often failing to confirm physical presence. The ventilation system hadn't been properly inspected in years, despite known deterioration. Even more damaging, maintenance staff had reported unusual noises above cell block B multiple times, but received no follow-up. Number 8. The evidence that disappeared. A disturbing pattern emerged during the investigation's early phase. Physical evidence kept mysteriously vanishing or yielding contradictory conclusions. The most significant discovery came just hours after the escape. A carefully assembled packet of personal effects belonging to the Anglins found floating near Angel Island. The waterproof bundle contained family photos, addresses, and cash, items escapees would presumably take if they survived. FBI agents interpreted this as evidence the men drowned during the crossing. Yet, when marine biology experts examined the packet's water exposure patterns, they concluded it hadn't been in the water long enough to match the escape timeline, suggesting deliberate planting to mislead investigators. More anomalies followed. A homemade paddle recovered near the Golden Gate Bridge initially tested positive for Clarence Anglin's fingerprints, but these results were later withdrawn without explanation. Norwegian freighter crews reported spotting a small craft with 3 men during early morning hours after the escape, but official records of these interviews disappeared from case files. Most puzzling was the concrete physical evidence collected from the prison workshop. Detailed diagrams showing mainland landing points, modified tools, and raft construction materials. These items vanished from FBI evidence storage in 1963, classified as mistakenly destroyed, despite the case remaining active. Number 7. The mysterious letters. The case took an extraordinary turn in 1975 when the San Francisco Chronicle received a meticulously handwritten letter signed Frank Morris. The document contained details about the escape known only to investigators and participants, describing how they had navigated currents using prison workshop knowledge converted into nautical calculations. The writer claimed all 3 men had survived, reaching the Marin headlands despite injuries. FBI analysis authenticated the handwriting as matching Morris's prison samples with 85% certainty, but stopped short of confirming survival. This became the first in a series of communications that would repeatedly reopen the cold case. In 1989, another letter arrived at FBI headquarters, this time allegedly from John Anglin. This correspondence provided precise details about their post-escape lives, claiming Morris had died in 2008 and Clarence in 1992. The writer proposed a remarkable deal. He would surrender voluntarily if granted medical treatment for his cancer, promising to serve 1 year in prison upon recovery. Number 6. The science that changed everything. The 2025 breakthrough that reopened the Alcatraz case emerged not from traditional criminal investigation, but from advanced modeling technology originally developed for climate research. A joint team from Stanford University and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration applied sophisticated hydrodynamic simulation software to reconstruct San Francisco Bay's exact tidal conditions on the night of June 11, 1962. This technology, capable of modeling water movements with unprecedented precision, revealed critical flaws in the original investigation's assumptions about the escapees' fate. The simulations incorporated atmospheric pressure readings, lunar phase data, water temperature records, and coastal topology to recreate the bay's complex current systems minute by minute throughout the escape window. Results directly contradicted the 1962 assessment that outgoing tides would have swept the raft toward the Pacific Ocean. Instead, the model demonstrated that between 11:30 p.m. and 12:15 a.m., the most likely departure time based on guard reports, a temporary counterflow pattern developed near Alcatraz's northern shore. This hydrodynamic anomaly would have created a navigable corridor toward Angel Island, reducing both distance and physical exertion required for crossing. Number 5. The family secret finally revealed. The definitive break in the Alcatraz mystery came from an unexpected source, the Anglin family, who had maintained a code of silence for over 6 decades. Following the 2025 scientific findings suggesting survival was possible, Fred Brizzi, a childhood friend of the Anglins who had claimed meeting them in Brazil during the 1970s, passed away, releasing his family from a promise of secrecy. Brizzi's children produced a comprehensive collection of materials their father had safeguarded: 11 photographs, detailed letters, audio recordings, and, most surprisingly, a hand-drawn map to a specific location in Northern California. FBI agents discovered a weatherproof container buried at the indicated location containing definitive evidence: John Anglin's Social Security card, Clarence's fingerprints on a glass plate preserved using forensic techniques ahead of their time, and a detailed 25-page account of their post-escape lives. The document explained how the brothers had initially reached Angel Island, suffering hypothermia but surviving with supplies cached by previously released inmates. They described traveling through California's Central Valley using migrant worker identities before crossing into Mexico. Most remarkably, they maintained that Frank Morris had survived the crossing but separated from them in Mexico after disagreements about their future plans. The brothers eventually established new identities in Brazil, working construction jobs and living modest, anonymous lives. Number 4. The prison guard's confession. Robert Henderson, a former Alcatraz guard who had maintained silence for decades, provided the final piece of the puzzle through a deathbed confession recorded by federal authorities in early 2025. Henderson, 91 and suffering terminal illness, revealed he had directly facilitated the escape for $5,000, equivalent to approximately $47,000 today, a staggering sum he used to finance his daughter's medical treatments. His detailed testimony explained numerous inconsistencies that had plagued the original investigation. Henderson confessed to deliberately ignoring suspicious noises during night patrols, providing information about guard rotation schedules, and most significantly, tampering with cell block security checks to buy critical time for the escapees. He admitted delivering supplies gradually over months, including waterproof paint for the raft, refined rubber cement from outside sources, and detailed tide charts unavailable to prisoners. His position in Tower 3 during the escape night gave him direct visibility of the North Shore, where he observed the men successfully launching their craft and navigating toward Angel Island. He maintained communication with Clarence Anglin for 3 years following the escape through a prearranged drop point in San Francisco, receiving confirmation of their successful integration into new identities. Henderson's testimony explained how the men avoided capture in the crucial first 72 hours. They never attempted to reach the mainland as investigators assumed, instead hiding on Angel Island for 5 days in a storm drainage channel Henderson had identified for them, waiting for search intensity to diminish before traveling east. Number 3. The secret government files. The investigation culminated with the declassification of over 300 pages of previously unreleased FBI and Federal Bureau of Prisons documents through a 2025 Freedom of Information Act lawsuit. These files revealed that federal authorities had possessed significant evidence of the escapees' survival since the 1970s, but deliberately maintained the drowning narrative for institutional reasons. Internal memos showed that J. Edgar Hoover personally directed the suppression of evidence suggesting successful escape, fearing damage to the FBI's reputation and the federal prison system's credibility. The documents detailed multiple credible sightings systematically dismissed from official reports, including a gas station encounter in Oregon 2 weeks after the escape where an attendant recognized the men from wanted posters. Surveillance. Photographs taken in Rio de Janeiro in 1975 showed individuals matching age progression estimates of Morris and Clarence Anglin, with facial recognition analysis confirming high probability matches that were never disclosed to the public. Most revealing were records of a covert 1979 operation codenamed Rockfall, in which federal agents infiltrated Northern California communities where the escapees reportedly established temporary residence before departing the country. Number 2. The legacy that lives on. The 2025 resolution of the Alcatraz mystery transcended mere historical clarification to fundamentally reshape American cultural understanding of the case. Far from diminishing public fascination, confirmation of the escape's success amplified interest in the psychological and practical dimensions of how 3 determined men defeated America's most secure prison. Museum attendance at Alcatraz Island doubled within months of the revelations, with visitors particularly drawn to the reconstructed workshop space and escape route now incorporated into tours. The case underwent immediate academic reassessment, with criminologists noting that successful escape reflected not just individual brilliance, but systemic vulnerabilities created by institutional arrogance. Military historians drew parallels to the psychological warfare aspect of the escape, how Morris exploited the prison's absolute confidence in its security by using that very confidence as a weapon. Engineering analysis of the improvised tools and raft design revealed innovation comparable to military field equipment, leading to their inclusion in engineering textbooks as examples of resource-constrained problem-solving. Media adaptations proliferated across platforms, including 3 documentary series, a major motion picture, and an interactive virtual reality experience allowing users to attempt the escape themselves under simulated 1962 conditions. Number 1. The final truth emerges. The complete picture of what happened after the escape finally emerged through comprehensive integration of scientific findings, government documents, personal testimonies, and family records. The verified timeline revealed that Morris and the Anglins successfully navigated to Angel Island during a 2-hour crossing, suffering hypothermia but avoiding detection in a prearranged drainage culvert. After 5 days in hiding, They traveled separately across Northern California using identities and funds established through prison connections. The men reunited briefly in Southern California before separating permanently, a strategic decision to complicate tracking efforts. Clarence Anglin crossed into Mexico first, establishing temporary residence in Mexicali, while working under an assumed identity in agricultural labor. John followed 3 months later, and together they traveled south through Central America using transportation arranged by criminal associates who had previously served time with them. They eventually settled in Brazil, selected for its lack of extradition treaty and remote regions where documentation requirements remained minimal. There they established modest but stable lives, working primarily in construction and automotive repair. Are you seeing this video that is appearing on the screen? Click on it, because I have set it aside especially for you to watch. If you like this video, I'm sure you'll like our recommendation. Well, that's it, and until next time, Curious One.